Okay, Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. So he was considered like the fourth generation of Tanoim. So when we say Tanoim, we mean from Hillel and Shammai, who lived around 100 years before the Churban. Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai is the generation after the Churban. He was basically, we don't know his exact date, but it's in the Common Era, right? It's around the year 100 to 200, right? When was the Beis Hamikdash destroyed? Like 30 years before this. So he's after the Churban. Okay, this is when he was active. He's one of the greatest Tanoim of this generation. A little bit about his greatness. Stam Rabbi Shimon B'Shas and Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. There's over 50 rabbis named Shimon, but there's only one that says Rabbi Shimon plain. Everyone else is going to have another title. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, Rabbi Shimon Chalad, Rabbi Shimon this. It's going to be something else. There's over 50 Rabbi Shimons in the Talmud, but there's only whenever it says Rabbi Shimon plain in the Mishnah, which is pretty common, is Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai or bar Yochai. Rashi brings this. Rabbi Shimon also has the unique distinction of being mentioned every single chapter of the Talmud. That's what they say. I didn't double check that.
Not the Mishnah, right? I don't think it's a Rabbi.
The Mishnah a lot also, but every single chapter of Gemara he's mentioned. He was one of the greatest students of Rabbi Akiva. He learned, it says in Ksuvos, it mentions that he learned by him 13 years, which is interesting. He had 12 years and then 12 years, and then after that started Rabbi Shimon, and it was 13 years. Rabbi Akiva calls him my child a lot of times. It's a sign of affection, but it's also very of closeness and greatness. Okay, Rabbi Akiva calls him my child, and it's also known that by the end of Rabbi Akiva's life, by the Bar Kokhba revolt, when Rabbi Akiva was arrested after the persecution, he was teaching Torah. Right, we spoke about that a little bit in the Rabbi Akiva class last week. So Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai was one of the students who would like sneak or bribe his way to be able to learn with him in prison through the bars. He was able to communicate, ask him questions, and study with him in the few months or so that he was in prison before his horrific execution, which we spoke about last week. So Rabbi Shimon was a pretty serious student. When he was young, it says Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai learned the Yavna. It's mentioned in Brachas, which is in the north. And then he had a yeshiva in Sidon, which they're digging up ruins from it. I don't know if this is the yeshiva or some other fortresses there, but this is Yavne, and this is Sidon. You could go check it out.
Sidon is in Eretz Yisrael?
Yeah, it's a north. It's over here. It's now it's probably Lebanon, maybe.
It's a part of Eretz Yisrael.
Okay. Okay, how he got smicha, pretty traumatic. He was one of this group. If you think you had some drama in your learning, it says like this. They once made a decree of shmat, of spiritual persecution and obliteration. They try to wipe out Jewish practice. And look at how they worded it. They knew, this is the second round too between Rome. The first time the Romans destroyed the Beis Hamikdash, Rabbi Yechim and Zakkai said, could we have the yeshivas? And they didn't realize that by doing that, he sealed Rome's fate. And the Jews made it out. He let them have the yeshivas in Yavne. That's right. Remember the story of Yochanan and Zakkai? We have to do him another week. He snuck out in a coffin. He met Vespasian, and then he negotiated with him. He got him to let him have the yeshivas. Leave us alone. We're just going to learn Torah. We're not going to rebel. And then 70 years later, there was another war, and this time there was terrible persecution. They realized that the Torah is what keeps the Jews, from assimilating and they can't, and they kept, gives them power and inspiration. So look what they said. Shekola saimech yahadeh. Whoever gives smicha was the passing on the authority from Moshe Rabbeinu, from teacher to teacher, will get killed. Whoever receives smicha will get killed. And the city that smicha is given in will be put to the sword. But and the whole will be plowed, will be uprooted, the whole vicinity of that city. So Ma Asa Yehuda ben Bava. So this great rabbi, he wanted to give a few of his students smicha. So what did he do? Halach v'yashav He went between Shnei Harim Doilim, between two big mountains. He went to a very secluded private place. So Bein Shnei Hayados Doilis, between two big cities, Bein Shnei Tchumei Shabbos, between the two like outskirts of the cities, Bein Ushal Shifa Shofra. These are the places. V'samach Sham Chamishas Kenim, and five rabbis received smicha there. Be'elohein, Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon. Who's Rabbi Shimon playing? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, right? Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Elazar ben Shemua. Rav Avia Moisef Avram Nechemia. Rav Avia has another version of the story, and he adds one more, a sixth rabbi. Rabbi Nechemia was also there. Kivan Sheikiru Eiveim Behen, they had spies. Unfortunately, there was the early Christians, it was known. There were a lot of, how did they able to enforce these kind of laws? Only because of traitors. They got wind of this, and they told the Romans, and they tried to attack them to stop it, and they start to attack, like this to come to, the soldiers start to come to, because they heard about it, to punish them. So he screamed to them, Amalah Benai, my children, run for your lives, Raitsu, flee, run away. You're young, you're strong, run away. Amalai, Rabbi, Ma'atehei Alecha, what will be with you? The soldiers are coming, how can we tell us to run? Amalah Areini Mutal Ifneim Ke'evan She'ein La Haifchin. I'll hold them back. They won't be able to move me, meaning I'm going to give my life to protect you. That's what he was telling them. I will stop them, but you'll be able to escape. Amru, they said that he was 300 of these were thrown into his body before he could even move away. The teacher's body. Then asu kichvara, his body became like a sea, so many holes in it. That's the pretty graphic description. That's how he started his rabbinic career. His teacher was terribly killed seconds after he received his rabbinic ordination. Okay. Now we start the most famous story of all. Oh, Ezi. Rabbi Yehuda is called the head speaker, the keynote speaker in every location, in every situation. They had the Romans decreed that Rabbi Yehuda has to speak first. He has to be honored. Here's the story. The Yasvi, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi, and Rabbi Shimon. You know what the Yasvi is?
They were sitting.
Yes, they were sitting once. Three of them in Shmuel talking. The Yasvi, Yehuda ben Gadim Gavayu. And a person, Yehuda ben Gadim, was there. His name was Yehuda ben Gadim, and he was nearby. Unfortunately, he was a snitcher. You're going to see.
No, you should have blacked out his words.
Pasach Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda opened up, and he opened up the conversation, and he said, Kama noim I saying shalom azu. This nation, the Romans, they did achieve pretty good things. Tiknu shvakim, they set up marketplaces. Tiknu, by the way, that's this. Very majestic, very nice. Even the runes, you could see it was very fancy. Tiknu kshadim, they built bridges. Tiknu merchatzayis, they made bathhouses. That was Rabbi Yehuda's words. Rabbi Yossi Shasha. Rabbi Yossi was quiet. None of Rabbi Shimon and Yochai responded and said, Come, you really think they did anything nice? Whatever they did was for not good reasons, for selfish reasons and for negative reasons. Tiknu shvakim, they made markets, to have prostitutes. Merchatzayis, they did bathhouses, to pamper themselves. Shadim, they did bridges, lita behen mechas, to collect taxes from everybody and oppress everybody.
Hey.
Yehuda ben Gadim v'sipa divrayim. He repeated it. He's not a snitcher to the Romans. He was just a gossiper, actually. It seems from the story. V'nishmu l'malchus. He repeated over the three rabbis' words or silence, and v'nishmu l'malchus. Eventually, because of his gossip, it was heard by the king, by the Romans. What they said about them. Amru, they said, Yehuda she'ila yisala. Yehuda, who spoke positive and lifted us up, the way he described us, that we did good things, he should be elevated. And that's why he's the first speaker by Roman law. Whenever Rabbi Yehuda was around, they made him speak first. Yossi Shashasa, Rabbi Yossi, who was quiet, he didn't defend the Romans, but he didn't condemn them. Yigala Litzipaidi. He was exiled to Tzipaidi. Shimon Shagina, Shimon, who disparaged, he spoke negatively of Yehudeh, has to be killed. And killed meant tortured, like Rabbi Akiva style. So Rabbi Shimon had to go into hiding. Here's,
Rabbi,
by the
they were
way,
gangsters.
I'm not going to vouch for this.
Why did Rabbi Yehuda do this? Why did he praise them?
What?
Islam
He was saying he's pointing out some good there.
Why?
Good question. I never thought about that, but he was probably trying to say the good.
Rabbi, they were Jewish gangsters.
Um,
Gossip about the good, and it doesn't make sense.
No.
Say
He was probably trying to strengthen the good. Remember we had the class about Emor? When you speak good, you strengthen the good.
Yeah.
And then? So Azahulu Brei, he fled with his son. Tashavei Medrash, they were hiding, and they moved into their base medrash. They moved out of their house, they stayed in the shul. So the soldiers came to their house, they couldn't find them. They would bring them, his wife would bring them bread and a kuza de maya, some kind of jug of water, a measurement of water. And they would eat. He took exerta, but when the drums got faster, the music got scarier. They were getting more in danger. They felt like soldiers were really looking for them. Yeah.
Was with Rabbi Shimon at this point?
What? Rabbi Shimon Yochai and his son.
What was his son?
After the story, they had to flee because now he was wanted. They heard that he spoke bad about them.
Whose wife? Rabbi Shimon's wife?
Rabbi Shimon Yochai's wife, yeah. Omar Le'livrei told his son, it's getting dangerous. Noshim daitin kala aleya. This is where it comes from. That there's something about women that they're weaker intellectually, or here it means dilma mitzadi lo megalyala, not weaker intellectually. They won't be able to handle the torture. They won't be able to handle torture, and they'll reveal. So he's saying that they're more gentle there, and they could be pressured and reveal where we're hiding. And they're going to reveal our hiding place in the shul. In the shul. Oslu, so they went, Tashu b'Marta, they went and hid in a cave. This is the pictures. No, this is the cave with the tree, right? The water we're going to talk about. This is an actual cave with a sign that says that some people have a tradition that this is the cave where they actually hid. So, I'm not going to vouch for the authenticity. Tourist business is a big big part of the economy there, and it's known that a lot of things are fabricated. But I'm just going to share it. I found on Google that they say this is it. This is the actual cave. But let's see what happened. It's Rachesh Nisa. What?
Where in Israel is that?
It's somewhere in the north over there. I'm not even sure. I could check. It's Rachesh Nisa. A miracle occurred. Now they're in the cave. The wife doesn't even know where they are. They told her that, we can't tell you, we're afraid. It'll be safer if you don't know where we are. Probably they told her, and they sent their message. They probably told her a message that it'll be safer if you don't know where we are. He was a considerate husband also. He was a holy person, right? And he probably gave them a message that's safer for everybody that we don't know, and they went, okay. So Yislachish Nisha, a miracle occurred. Ivri lahu charuva ve'ena demaya. And it was created for them. A charuva is like a carob tree, which is these, but this is more dried out. Ve'ena demaya is a fountain of water. So they were able to have food and water. V'hava mishalchim minayu. This is their schedule. Since they were going to hide there a long time, they would take off their clothing and they would cover themselves in the sand. They would be like cover themselves in sand, and they would learn all day. They would use their clothing only for davening, lavshu, mitsu, so and they would daven. So their clothing shouldn't get worn out. They only used it for like Shabbos, I guess, and davening and things like that.
And they knew they were going to be there for so long.
Yeah, apparently. They knew that the hunt was very intense. Isvu Teresa Shani Marta. They learned and they sat and learned for 12 years, sustaining on the miraculous tree, carob tree, and the fountain of water.
I guess we were in the same place for 12 years.
So, also Elio, after 12 years, Elio came. He stood by the door of the cave. He said, "Man loide lebayachai the mace case of batok zarpe." He started to announce. Eliona became from heaven, but he's sort of to inform him. So he made like he's somebody doesn't know where they are. But he stood outside the cave and he started announcing, "Who will let Rabbi Shimon know? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai know that the Caesar died, the Caesar died, the Roman Emperor is dead, and the way it works is all his decrees, like open warrants, whatever was get canceled. The bato gzerase, all those gzeres are canceled. So Nafku, they left the cave. Chazo inchi de karvi vizari. They came out and they saw people like plowing the field. Amru, they said, they reached such a high spiritual level. This is crazy. Look at this, Ezra. Look what he comes for. They saw people plowing. They said, "Anitin chaye oilam va'oiskim b'chaye shah." They're just, they could be doing Torah. They could be saying words of Torah and connecting to Hashem and traveling the spiritual world, and instead they're working with cows. Whatever they would look at, they would zap. They would burn it. They were destroying the countryside. Literally. They reached such a holy high place they couldn't tolerate, and their holiness would just like consume them. Like it says about this, maybe it's connected to similar to Yonis and Ben Uziel, the greatest disciple of Hillel, that a bird would fly over him, would get singed from the holiness. So maybe they tapped into that. They were part of that.
Did they burn anybody?
It says that wherever they put their eyes would burn.
So even people?
I hope
Does it
not.
mean literally?
So listen, Yatsa Baska, a voice came from the heavens, and said to them, you came out of the cave to destroy my world? Get back into the cave. So they went back into the cave. They sat and learned for another 12 months. Omri, they said, Mishpat Rishayim Begehenim, even the judgment of wicked people in Gehenim is only 12 months. So we could try again now. Yatsa Baska va'amra. Okay, that was their request. Like, maybe after 12 months, give us another chance. And a voice came and said, you could go. Su mimaraschem. Depart from your cave. Nafku, they left. Kol echad hava machi Rabbi Lazar, hava masid Rabbi Shimon. So now, Rabbi Shimon reached even higher, and he was able to actually handle people without destroying them. So that's even a higher level. But his son didn't. So Rabbi Lazar would look out and he would start singeing the house, the work, and he would quickly look at it and stop the fire. I don't know how it looked, but that's what the Gemara described. Something like that. Rabbi Lazar was destroying it, and Rabbi Shimon was restoring it, was healing it. Amar Loi, and he told his son, B'ni, dai lo elam ani ve'ata. It's enough for the world that me and you are, transcended all physicality and was totally spiritual, all the holy teaching, we're living at such a high level. But let other people live. And then, as they were going, it was Erev Shabbos. They saw
Panya mean?
it was turning, like setting the sun of the Shabbos. Chazu lahu saba. They saw an elderly person to have a nakitrei medani asa. He had 2 stalks of myrtles, like hadassin. V'roit ben hashemashos, and he's running as the sun was setting. Amru lei hani lamalach. What do you need these for? What are you running with these 2 myrtles? Amru lahu l'kavod Shabbos, in honor of Shabbos, 2 flowers, an ancient tradition, right? Shabbos flowers. So they asked him, "V'tiski lecha b'chad? Wouldn't 1 be enough? Why 2? I'm just curious, The guy's like rushing, but they stopped him, So he said, "Chad keneged zochma, and chad keneged shomer." Don't you know there's 2 dimensions to Shabbos? There's the positive and there's like the negative, meaning there's the actively make it holy, and then there's protect it from being cheapened. It should be a special day. So he turns to his son, and then his burning rays, they stopped, he calmed down, and he was able to, he said, you see, in this, low-level world, there's such precious activities going on. Don't underestimate a husband buying flowers for his wife at a Shabbos. It could save the world, right? From this, Rabbi Lazar, this fire was still going. Okay, let's stop here. We'll continue.